Hi everyone. As the girls said there, I'm going to read a few poems. And the first of which is called When I Grow Up. It's about growing up as a woman and trying to break free from the fact that you're often people will try and pigeonhole you to be a career woman or a caring woman or a quiet woman. And this is about trying to find your own way amongst that. What do you want to be when you grow up? Asked, eyes smiling in supermarket aisles as I hid in my mum's coat. Asked men taking notes, women wielding files, Royal Mile performers, rosettes seeking votes. Meanwhile, from the depths of mum's woolen folds, a voice crept out tight from a closing throat. Well, I suppose I like to write. Oh, isn't that nice? It's good to have goals. And with lips stitched in a knowing smile, they rejoined their concrete club. But no one asked me, who do you want to be when you grow up? Someone whose tongue is not riddled with apology, but pink with prose. Who knows when to interject and when it's best to let things go. Who hasn't let laughter lodge a dam in the duct where her tears should flow. She doesn't care who sees. When I grow up, I want to be the friend that people clamber to keep. Who sees good in every sordid street she passes through, but I don't know if I can. Because who was never factored into this plan, and no one asked me, where do you want to grow up? In a world that doesn't judge, where my walk isn't met with bulging stares because the colour of my hair makes no difference. A world freed of its flares and dissonance, where innocence isn't ruined as soon as we're out the womb. When I grow up, I want to be in a place where a job title does not give us the right to entitlement, where respect isn't a result of luck, with no muddied puddles where morals get stuck. But how long do I wait? See, back then, no one asked me, when do you want to grow up? When tomorrow taps me on the shoulder and tells me, I think you've had enough. Calls me over with warmth in her voice and fingers. I have no choice in growing older, but when I grow up, I'll do it when I'm ready. Not when some quiz in a magazine tells me, like, I might as well be a glossy lie. I'm just not sure I'll get to when. I've never asked them, why should I want to grow up? I'll slip time off my wrist and call its bluff. I will fight the ensuing flood. Because, I suppose, I like to write. And for me, that will always be enough. Thank you. So in preparation for today, I was thinking about kind of growing up and the first time you notice inequalities, because it's kind of a gradual process as you get older. And I was thinking about the kind of small ways that inequality is ingrained into society, and the really small things that were noticeable to me as a young child. And one of my first moments of awareness around gender inequality might sound a bit silly, but it was the fact that I noticed that men always get the good umbrellas. Why is that? So this is called chucking it down. Cobbles are slick with it, and it moulds the mound as Everest. Unequal in its height, but now twice as treacherous. My coat wasn't made for this. There's a man who is held together by his tie. When the sky splits, he adds an inch to his stride. Without looking, his fingers find a button, and his umbrella breathes out, until its diaphragm is as wide as the disbelief of an open mouth. It's all black, but for the discreet crest of a brand, and as the water lands, he is lidded, distant from its sound. 2 steps behind, I play fight with mine. It's all line and Velcro and edge, sharp bits and pattern mess. I'm pitching a tent halfway through the night while Edinburgh pours itself down my neck. It takes strength to grip a handle already too wet, or to walk when the wind makes me a kite. We're almost the same, this man and I. He has gained muscle from holding things still, while I have built it through struggle, because it's always a wrestle when the clouds spill. But the main difference between us lies. When I arrive at the top of the hill, I'll hurt where I shouldn't and sugar myself dry. I'll be grateful for the ground changing. And he, with the black umbrella, will not notice that it's still raining. Thank you. Last year, I was writing a project about patriotism. I was trying to work out what that means to me, if it's a good thing, maybe when it stops being a good thing. And I did so by writing about the thing that makes me feel most patriotic, which is Andy Murray. And I was thinking about, particularly, there's a lot of kind of masculine connotations surrounding patriotism. And I was thinking about how that's the same in sport. So this poem is about kind of when someone who isn't a man steps into a masculine area and the kind of reception that they get. And it's called Of One's Fathers, which is a phrase taken from the etymology of the word patriotism. Andy Murray is Judy Murray's son. Uncanny, the clench they have in common. The oblong that their mouths make out of pain or panic. The unsanded edge of their guttural groan. Judy played too, but she wasn't good enough to be remembered. She would not have sworn in a tennis skirt. No room for that. She is hard to recognise. Parts of her don't look like a mother. That family does not hug enough to be normal. Her cheeks are angles that should have softened by now. No one says like mother, like son, but their faces are too close together, according to the viewers at home, who have never seen the back of a woman's throat. A female body locked with passion, limbs straight as a flag. Thank you. This last poem is inspired by the song Coulter's Candy, or Ali Bali Bee, which was sung to me as a child. And I was looking into the history of this song, and I didn't know that it was written by a sweet seller in the Borders, a male sweet seller. And that gave me quite an interesting perspective, looking over the lyrics again all these years later. I was thinking about how it's sort of written by a man kind of preying on mothers, telling them the best way to raise their children. And I liked the fact that it's been reclaimed. Certainly in my family, it was a song passed from female to female. So I looked at the lyrics again, and I split them up and thought about how each wee section made me think of a different woman in my life who is reclaiming in some way, or doing things differently, or just generally being inspirational. This involves a tiny bit of singing, and I'm really sorry because it's not what I do, but Ali Bali, Ali Bali Bee, sitting on your mammy's knee. Mum. Home is the sky unsnacked and spitting teeth behind a bolted front door, so I can keep my fingers dry as they erase the day's droolings down the glass. It's not the same sofa that held our shared weight, but sometimes the bounce she once drilled into sleepy knees sneaks into my step. I've heard the song play out from other mouths and wanted it back, like the child who first heard it, but hadn't learned to share yet. Greeting for a wee Bobby to buy some Coulter's candy. Ruby. On the news, they say we don't watch the news. 2 lock screens stuck to look up. I look up numbers to spine our debates, while she makes tomorrow's scrubs creaseless and packs a lunch that won't be eaten. Next week will be our 7th time voting, both 21, both unsure if our crossed boxes will bring better, both hopeful though. Her thoughts are wasps between work and proxy or postal, and mine are coloured as red as her namesake with stories from the ward. Not enough beds, and not enough blood, and not enough. Poor wee Jeannie's getting off her thin, a red club beans covered o'er with skin. Alina. Her eyebrows meet in the middle above the walk. She misses the smells that lived in her clothes back home. This country is crisp linen at its best, and this kitchen is its worst. She rolls her eyes over my porridge to find nothing she knows in its topish heap. Is that savoury or sweet? How could words tell her that it's neither and both? It's good for you. It'll keep you warm, I say. She'll try it another day, maybe, as she holds a laugh at my priorities in her throat. Now she's getting a wee double chin with soaking Coulter's candy. Granny. I don't remember the occasion, or even if there was one. But in making room for the fajita treat, my stomach fought the cotton of my t-shirt. We'd parked the car halfway so we could walk the rest and let our food go down. Granny planned these things. I thought the world rolled around in her handbag. I was sure I'd seen it leant against the packet of Murray mints from which I was doled what I was due. Her plan hit stage 2 when dusk slapped the Firth of Forth as if she'd told it to. Thank you for listening.